Open up your Bible to Genesis 11. Genesis 11. We will be talking about the Tower of Babel and the confusion of human language. Ooh, it's getting good. It's getting so good. Whew, okay. Chapter 11. Genesis 11. Now the whole earth had one language and the same words. And as they migrated from the east, they came upon a plain in the land of Shinar, Shinar, and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." And they had bricks for stones and bit, bitumen, bitumen, for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its tops in the heavens, S after heaven, heavens. And let us make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we shall be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." Verse 5. The Lord, the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which brick, which mortar had built. And the Lord said, "Look, there are one people, there, and they have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do. Nothing that they nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. One language, one nation under God, strong. Once you divided under God, scattered. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Just a little bit. Too excited, too excited, too excited. Slow down, girl, slow down. Okay, nothing that they propose to do will be impossible for them. Number 7, come, let us go down and confuse their language there, so that they will not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off buildings the city. Oh, God is so good. I can change glasses. And they left off building the city. Therefore, it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. Verse 10. These are the descendants of Shem. When Shem, 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 was 100 years old, he became the father of Arpachshad, 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 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after the birth of Arpachshad 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he became the father of, my alarm goes off. He became the father of Shelah, Shelah. And Arpachshad lived after the birth of Shelah 400 years and had sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber, Eber. And Shelah lived after the birth of Eber 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he became the father of Peleg, Peleg. And Eber lived after the birth of Peleg 430 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he became the father of Reu, Reu. And Peleg lived after the birth of Reu 209 years, and he had other sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he became the father of Serug, Serug. And Reu lived after the birth of Serug 207 years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he became the father of Nahor. And Serug lived, Nahor, Nahor. And Serug lived after the birth of Nahor 200 years and had other sons and daughters. Verse 24. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he became the father of Terah, Terah. And Nahor lived after the birth of Terah 119 years and had other sons and daughters. When Terah had lived 70 years, he became the father of Abram. Remember the name? Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran, Haran, Nahor, Nahor. Verse 26. Concentrate on verse 26. It's very important to know the names of the people. It's very important to know the names because that's what shaped the story we are reading. It shaped the Bible. It shaped. Woo, it's getting good. Verse 27. Now, these are the descendants of Terah. Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran was the father of Lot. Remember the names. But the father of Lot. Haran died after his father Terah in the land of his birth. And you are of the Chaldean, Chaldean, Chaldeans, Chaldeans. Abram and Nahor took wives, and the names of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, Milcah. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, Sarai, or becomes Sarah later, but Sarai. She was the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and Ishka, Ishka. Now, Sarai was barren. She had no children. Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and they went out together from to the Chaldean to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The days of terror were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Remember the names. It's very important to study the names of the Bible, of the descendants. It's very important to study them because they shape the names. The descendants will shape the readings of what we are getting into when you get into the meat. That's why it's very important to know the book of Genesis and the people and the places and their children, who their children was, and everything else. It's very important to know the genealogy of those people. Now, let me take a moment to explain what we just read on Genesis 11. Let's start off with 10. Let's start off with 10. The family line from Shem to Abram. Shem, Shem to Abram. The genealogy in Genesis 10, before the Tower of Babel story, had named all the siblings of a given generation. These siblings had represented the spread of God's blessing over all people of the earth. A major transition occurred with the genealogy in Genesis 11. The family line of promises became more narrowly focused on one person in each generation. The family line began with Noah's son Shem on verse 10 and extended for 10 generations until we come to Abram, later called Abraham, Abram, which later changed to Abraham, and Sarai, that was from 7, Leviticus to Abraham from Genesis 17 verse 5. I'm getting ahead of myself. Get to 17, Genesis 17 verse 5. That's when his name changed. And then you get Sarai, which is his wife. That's Sarai. And then her name was later changed to Sarah, Sarah, on Genesis 17 verse 15. This genealogy built a literary bridge from stories about all humanity in Genesis 1 to 11, all the more narrowly focused stories on the one family of Abraham and Sarah, the ancestors of Israel in Genesis 12 to 50. Getting good. It's getting good. Verse 28. The memory of this family include the tragedy of a son, Haran, Haran, who died at a young age while his father was still living. The theme of a son's premature death will continue to haunt this family line. The young sons of Abraham, chapter 22, verse 2. Isaac, 27, verse 41. Jacob, 37, 29 to Genesis 37, 29 to 36. With all being endangered or presumed to be dead. Abram's wife Sarai, was barren and unable to have children. Sarai was barren, but Sarah was not barren. Know the difference? Sarai, before God blessing, was barren. But when God changed it to Sarah, he was the barren was over. Okay, when God changed you, everything changed. Okay. Abram's wife Sarai was barren and unable to have children in verse 30. This condition will become a major obstacle and cause the suspense when God promised Abram and Sarai that they will have many descendants and become a great nation on Genesis 12, verse 2 and 17, verse 16. The theme of the barren mother, unable to have children, will also be repeated in succeeding generation with Rebecca. Rebecca on that's Rebecca. That's Rebekah on verse Genesis 25, verse 21, and Rachel Rachel Genesis 29, verse 31. Now, concentrate on verse 31 in Genesis 11, verse 31 right now. Haran, 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 a city in northern Mesopotamia, is the place where Abraham grew up. Abraham would later see to it that his son Isaac obtained a wife from his hometown of Haran, Haran, also known as the city of Nahor, Nahor, Nahor. And Genesis 24, verse 10. Remember the names of the city because it's important. If it's in the Bible, it's important. Okay, you must know it. Abraham's grandson, Jacob, will likewise return to Haran, Haran, to work for his uncle Laban, Laban. His name gonna show up, Laban, and marry Laban's two daughters on Genesis 29, verse 4. You're gonna see how, I just gave you a taste. But when we get to the meat of it and continue to read, you're going to see how Genesis 11 goes into the rest of the Bible and how it's going to spice it up. You know, going to spice up the rest of the Bible. Keep your Bible open. We're going to do verse 12 next. Read verse 10. Read the rest. If you didn't read up to verse 11 yet, read 1 to 11. You're going to see how chapter 1 goes into the rest that we are reading right now. Go chapter by chapter by chapter, verse by verse. If you continue, that's the best way to read the Bible. Don't skip and say, well, I'm going to read part of the Old Testament, I'm going to go to the New Testament. You're going to get it, you're going to understand it, but you're not going to really grasp the meat of it unless you go chapter to chapter, verse to verse, so you could understand and read the names of the people, the places, because they're going to come back again. Okay? Do that later. Continue on to verse 12. Read the next chapter that's coming up.